This is Duke University.
With the Duke Lemur Center, happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Boy, what a topic! Biological diversity, biodiversity. It's such an important thing, and it's as you know, it's all around us. It's the life that's all around us: plants, animals. Microscopic, not microscopic. It's the result of millions and millions of years of evolution, and genes, genotypically, phenotypically, animals and plants have changed through these enormous amounts of time. We've had, as was mentioned in the introduction, about 5 major extinction events through time, through the millions of years. The planet has seen that number of extinction events. And the last one was about 65 million years ago, as you know, when the asteroid collided with Earth and caused dramatic changes, which included things like the extinction of dinosaurs, but was also, as was also mentioned in the introduction, we're now in the 6th extinction event, and this one is caused by human beings. And we are seeing dramatic changes. We're seeing now extinctions at a rate of about 100 to 150 species a day disappearing from the face of the earth. Some estimates put the number at even 100 species that are disappearing from tropical rainforests. At that rate, it's hard to be exact, but at any rate, we're losing a lot. We're losing species through direct pressures such as hunting, like on elephants, rhinos, pangolins, cases like that. But we're really losing a lot more species through forest destruction and forest degradation. We're losing somewhere in the range of the equivalent of the state of Louisiana in forests every year worldwide, and half of the forest, the original forest worldwide, are already gone. In fact, you know, we always think about these problems in terms of tropical countries, developing countries, but in fact, even in North Carolina, we're losing 30 acres of forest to development every day. So this is really a huge worldwide problem. And, you know, losing biodiversity, is it important? Some people question that. Look back at the end of the Cretaceous and the extinction of the dinosaurs. If that asteroid hadn't hit the Earth, where would we be today? We wouldn't be here today, because evolution would have taken a very different course than it ended up taking. But we have, in that it's a human-powered event, we have the ability and we have the responsibility to do what we can to stop the extinction of species, to preserve our biodiversity, and not just because this plant could turn out to be important to man as with its medicinal properties, or we can learn from these plants and animals certain aspects that would be applicable and advantageous to human beings. We don't really understand how all the different species, how they interlink, how they interrelate, what holds up the entire system. We don't know when you pull out too many species, when does the entire system collapse. But for a myriad of reasons, we have a responsibility to try to protect the biodiversity that exists now and try to slow down extinctions. As I introduced myself, I'm conservation coordinator at the Duke Lemur Center. We do conservation in Madagascar. Madagascar is kind of a microcosm of the world to the extreme in the sense that it's an island that's been isolated for 80 million years, and as a result, you have very high endemism on the island and very high diversity of plants and animals on the island. It's a very unique situation there. It's classified as a biodiversity hotspot because of that endemism, that high endemism, but also because of the threat from human beings. 90% of the forest in Madagascar is already gone, has disappeared. So we're dealing only with 10% of the forests that are left in Madagascar. Our projects in Madagascar are very community-based. We work in the northeast of Madagascar in an area called the Sava region, and our objective there is to protect forest, but we do it through community-based activities. When I say community-based activities, I mean environmental education, working with school kids, teachers, and programs. We work in reforestation with local peoples. We work in sustainable agriculture, things like fish farming and substitution of yams for slash and burn rice. Madagascar is a very poor country, and it's one of the poorest countries in the world, and as a result, people are living very much hand to mouth. They do what it takes to feed their family, so they need alternatives. We do research, of course, but we also are even involved in family planning. A large part of the problem in Madagascar, which now has 22 million people, as in the rest of the world, is just, it comes down to numbers of people. The land can only support so many people. So are we going out and doing family planning ourselves? No, we're not. We are collaborating, partnering with an international organization, Marie Stopes, who go in with trained nurses, offer contraceptive devices to women, IUDs, implants, but we are just enabling them to carry out their mission in that region. But just to make the point that conservation is really multifaceted, and you can't approach it from a single direction, and it takes a lot more than being involved just in research on the ground. You have to really get involved with the people and work from a community-based aspect, or you're just not going to create sustainable conservation that will last for the long term. But in any case, we're going to have to, as was mentioned by our previous speaker, conservation of biodiversity is probably going to take many different approaches if we're really going to be successful in protecting the biodiversity that we have left here on the planet. And I guess just in closing, it was mentioned in the introduction, or a quote by E.O. Wilson, and we are very fortunate to have E.O. Wilson doing some teaching and being here at Duke some. He's an exceptional and extremely famous expert on biodiversity, and if you haven't read his book, The Creation, I would encourage you to read that book. It's a very interesting look at not just at world biodiversity, but what we should be doing about it. Thank you very much.